Hey y'all, Wispy here with a quick coaching video for Jeniel, aka Creeptastic. If you'd like any kind of coaching of your own, feel free to DM me at Wispy on Twitter, at Wispy everywhere. Um, Before we get into the intricacies of this critique, I just wanted to point out there are a few small mechanical improvements you can do immediately to improve your looting speed and generally make yourself faster, as it were. So the first one you want to be doing, mwah, bye, I love you, mwah. Sorry about that. So things that you can incorporate into all of this match are you gonna be your slide jumps. You're gonna be running at full speed, slide and then jump immediately. That's the fastest way to travel, especially while not having your gun drawn. Speaking of your gun not being drawn, if you're moving around just to move around, don't forget to hold down triangle to put away your weapons. It'll make you run a decent amount faster. Having shield ready on your little toolbar here. If you press up by itself, it'll always use whatever's the first item there. So if you have shield cells available and not any batteries, have your cells always ready whenever you need them, so healing is never slow, it's just an instant fast thing. And if you have batteries, keep those there, because those are going to be your most valuable in a fight. And the last thing is going to be looting quickly while understanding what you want. This is kind of a thing you just sort of get a feel for as time goes on. You'll get used to certain weapons and what attachments they take and how you generally want to have your kit looking. So for an example, a way I can loot quickly is, I know in my inventory I want the top row of my slots to be all ammo for both my weapons, and I want at least 3 nades of any kind. Everything else in my inventory, we'll rewind that a bit. So when I'm looting, I'm aiming for the top row with just ammo, and the last 3 slots should have grenades of some sort. Everything else will be as much healing as I can get, and that way I know I can look into my inventory at a glance and understand what I should be looking for and what I should be picking up quickly. So those are just a few little small mechanical things you can implement immediately, and little muscle memory things that'll make looting faster and make it a lot easier to get into fights quickly, as opposed to spending like the first 5 minutes of your game just looting. So let's hop forward, shall we?
Our champion has fallen.
I've got notes on the side of the screen. I'll send them out to you once I've uploaded this video also, so you can see the shorthand notes I've written. And our first note starts at 47 seconds, which is right here. So, you're about to get in a fight right now, and you use your tactical here to scan for enemies. Now, before we continue on, I kind of need to explain the Bloodhound's tactical usage and its detriments. So keep in mind, whenever you're hitting the tactical with Bloodhound, you are revealing your location to everybody, and you're revealing your location to everyone. You're going to be suffering a little bit of end lag once you scan, because you can't start fighting immediately until his hands go down. And those are the 2 big detriments to using his tactical. On the plus side, you're giving out your info to where you are in relation to the enemies, but you are gaining more info back by seeing every enemy. You can see what characters are playing by their silhouettes. If you're really observant, you can tell what gun they're also using to determine how you want to play. And yeah, just understand the push. You need to understand just the push and pull of Bloodhound's tactical. It isn't just a free scan, but there's a lot of little implications you have while using it. It's not too big of an issue in this video, but I just wanted to point it out. So first, we're gonna go through this fight real quick. You scan right here, and you go for some kind of wild ass laser shot, like from around the corner, which, you know, I respect it. This guy pushes you, and that's GG. This fight could have turned really badly had the other team not been potatoes. So what I would have liked to see you do instead in this fight is, so right here, you're gonna use your Bloodhound ult. You notice, I believe it's this one right here, or this one of those two is the closest to you, and you laser focus on that one. You guys weren't caught off guard, and nobody's hurting on your team. You can take a second to look around and see the rest of the team, because that one scan gave you so much information to work with. It told you the enemy that's attacking your lifeline is here, and they're alone, because the other two scans are here and here, and this comes into play a little bit later into this fight, because this is kind of a long fight. What I also would like to see is your lifeline's getting attacked on this side of the building here, from this direction, and your Gibraltar is covering this angle right here, this angle over here. You don't necessarily need to follow him. It's not a dire situation, and it is the beginning of the fight, and you're on top of these stairs next to the building. You could very easily just get high ground immediately and fire down at enemies and make it harder for them to fight you back if this was like a full team or so. That's kind of a what's it called, a habit you develop, looking for high ground all the time. And this was one free opportunity for you to use it. You know, you didn't lose this fight because of it, but that's one advantage you could have used right here, is get up on that high ground, shoot down at enemies, etc. So you do that. That guy gets finished. Here comes guy number 2. He gets absolutely fried. Just GG. He can't do anything. And here's why I mentioned the Bloodhound scan about scouting for what kind of info you can get first before fighting. Because right now, you're looking for the third teammate. You know, because the Mirage just went down and he didn't die immediately, there's still one more person on this team. And you don't know where they are right now. So after you loot here, right after this, where is it? Here we go. Right after you loot, I can see you're looking around for them, because you know there's a third person, but you don't know where they are. And your Gibraltar gets sniped there from the third person. It's the third guy there. Have you excuse me, it's kind of late while I'm recording this. Had you have taken the moment to scout for the info, you would have known already after downing that one guy that 2 were left. Then the Mirage comes up, gets downed, he gets fried, absolutely fried, and you still have the info in the back of your head. The other 2 teammates that were with the first person that pushed were down here, so you would know he's either coming from the zip line with the Mirage, or he's somewhere down in this area. You get sniped for it, but you don't get too hard punished, honestly. So our next point, we're going to jump to 43. 43, there we go. Alright, so you've tracked down the guy that you're fighting right now. It is the last person on this in this squad, and you have a pretty big advantage on them. Both of your teammates are gone. Let me lower this just a smidge. There we go. You have an advantage already on the guy, him being alone in his squad. And you scanned him earlier. You know he's somewhere in this building, but you kind of hesitate here. And you know, you already have a big advantage. You know, instead of waiting around to like go on your go with Gibraltar to push, which isn't a bad instinct per se. You do have a decent amount of advantage. You can't afford to scope around, like walk around this way and look around for them. You don't have to full commit run after them and get yourself killed, but you can't afford to flank around and cover different paths for to finish the last guy, because the last guy gets pretty good positioning on you, right up there. You missed him, but he's up there. He is. He's up there. So now begins a difficult sniper fight. He has high ground, and not only does he have high ground, he's also head glitching you. And I'll see if I can point out the head glitch when it happens. It happens right here, I believe. Right there. You did not even see his head, and you got hit. It's already difficult enough to fight someone on high ground. It is nice that you have the advantage, but I want to point out that you're over peeking the same corners multiple times here. So he knows you're there. He's taking a shot at you. He missed, but he knows you're on the left side of this blue container. So you peek a second time on the left side. You peek a third time and go for a wild hip fire laser, which has much more recoil. Or rather, it actually has recoil as opposed to ADS lasering. You peek on the right side. And now you're peeking a fourth time on this corner. There's a fifth peek. Do you see a pattern here? If I were to make an educated guess as to what corner you're about to peek me from again, after peeking the left side after peeking the left side of cover 5 times in a row, I can pretty safely say you're probably gonna peek that same piece of cover you've peeked me at 5 times already. Especially during a sniper fight, that's a deadly habit to have. That'll get you killed, especially since you're not crouching all that much while you're doing it and peeking the same corner. All the Pathfinder has to do is put his crosshair on where your head is and wait, and you'll give him a free headshot. Don't give it to him for free. Move from cover to cover. Use both sides evenly. Jump around to fake him out. Don't be too predictable while you're doing a sniper fight. And if you did really want to secure this kill, I do want to point out this entire game you don't use your Bloodhound ult until the very, very, very last seconds. If you want to secure this kill, you can use the ult, and remember, his ultimate got buffed in the recent season. It's amazing now. You can scan every 6 seconds, and you still have that movement bonus also. With that movement bonus, you can go to any kind of cover you want, give your teammates an angle to work with, as opposed to all attacking from one side. But the fights lasted so long regardless that the ring is closing. And you guys win this fight, and it's very clean and easy because you get a really nasty quick scope there. And then, this guy just sits in the corner instead of, I don't know, doing anything else. And, GG for him. So we're gonna jump to 10:27 now. It's right here. Close enough. Now this is a minor thing that I'm gonna point out at first. Right here. So, crafting system. This is new to Season 6. I don't know if you knew this already, but that indicator when you can see the crafting bench or crafting pod, replicator, whatever, from a distance through the walls, that indicates someone is crafting something. And you can see the progress bar on it right here. This already tells you someone's in that general area. I don't know if you notice that or not, because, there's no comms. Which, it's not a bad thing. But this is new. This is new to Season 6, so just keep in mind whenever you see crafting, someone's using that replicator. And, had you realized this, or thought about it for, like, a moment or so, you could have possibly gotten another flank on this side to make your push even more deadly. But that's a very minor thing. Let me see. So you go in, hey, that's wild. That was that Revenant totally forgot to reload. Um, you win the fight. You have pretty good hip firing. You're not over pushing. You're not over aiming the stick. You're letting your aim assist do a lot of the small work, and you're just doing general pushes back and forth, which is very good aiming. However, this is a little bit of a bad habit you have here of doing the aim duel. The first rule of winning fights in FPSs is never start a fair fight. Never ever. And what do I mean by a fair fight? Look at all this cover you've got around you. You've got this corner here. You've got this corner. You've got this corner. You've got your ultimate ready should you need it. You stand in the open and you don't rush in because you're looking for the Revenant. But the Revenant comes in anyways. And now, instead of getting a better position or something, you just kind of hip fire back and forth. Granted, he had to reload and that cost him. But had he not have needed to reload, there's not much strategy to the fight. It was just, let's both hip fire, and whoever hip fires the hardest wins. Now, you couldn't have known the Revenant was coming in through there. Your scan wasn't up, and you didn't use your ultimate. But you do know where the enemy is. All of you in your team know where this enemy is. They're somewhere around here. Because of the crafting happened there. You can hear the noises. Your Gibraltar is shooting in that general direction. So you can safely assume they're somewhere behind this door or that door. Yikes. You can safely assume they are between this door or that door. So you can use this cover here, this cover here, this cover here. You can use that as you approach slowly, just in case you do get caught off guard. You're not in as bad of an advantage as a disadvantage. Also, right here, another fast thing about another thing you can do with fast looting. Whenever you're looting the top of a box, right here, whenever you pick something out, the items are going to move up into your cursor. So you don't have to adjust your cursor at all, which means you can just press X 4 times in a row here to get everything really quickly. Don't forget about shield swaps. You don't heal your shields here. You just kind of leave this purple shield here, and you could save 1 cell just for doing a shield swap, and also it helps if another team heard you fighting and they're trying to come to third party you have another shield ready, healed up, and you don't have to go in a corner and spend the first moments of a fight healing. Don't forget about the shield swaps. It's very important. Okay. The next note is at 46. Here we go. So here begins your next fight. And I want to point out something that happens here. One, you have this very funny little thing that covers the enemy, but you can see their forehead. So right here, if you watch the top of this border right here, oh, there's a head. The little prompt covered them running by, but they're here. Anyways, you get some hits in with your vault here. I want you to take note of what the enemy does here, because this is going to be an important lesson to learn. The enemy throws nades. Now, that might seem kind of innocuous. You're at a distance, they're throwing nades. So what? Keep in mind, nades are a tool and not your main form of offense or your main form of damage. You're in most cases you are never going to die outright to a nade unless there's a million of them or you choose to ignore them. So this nade comes and they throw another and they force you to leave your cover and stand out in the open. The nade has fulfilled its purpose. They are using their nades to apply pressure while they're healing, and they've also pushed you out of your cover out in the open so they can get some free shots on you. Realize you're out in the open, and don't do this. Don't heal out in the open. It's kind of a silly move. But you push up anyways. Don't forget your tactical still exists, since you're deciding to push up and you don't really know who they are or where they are on the rock besides their footprint noises, which are kind of wishy-washy in Apex as it is. But, make easy work with them, GG. So we're gonna jump to 1425 now. Right around, nope, it's 13. I just learned how to count yesterday, fun fact. So, right here, did I write 35? 25. Hey, look at this! What is that that's up there? This is a smoke trail. That is a big indicator of where your enemies are, and you're also playing a tracking character. This is some info you can use. And just to further elaborate the point, there's an open door right here. There's a little bit of info you can use to help you find the enemies. It's not terribly important, but it is a big indicator. Always be on the lookout for the smoke trails.
Scanning the area.
And so, you res your dude, and your lifeline tags people. They're like, yo, peep.
Set. Fragment.
Here we go. So you're fighting a Rampart and their teammates who have set up on the north end of the banana.
Might be something good this frag.
Right here. And you decide to use your nades. These are not going to be good nades, honestly. And I'm going to give you multiple reasons why. The first being, they both kind of miss. The distance frags can hit is substantially less than arc stars. The distance they cover, arc stars are going to travel the farthest. You didn't even get one little hit marker there. And also, consider why you're throwing these nades. Nades by themselves are not going to kill anyone unless they're potatoes and they're like, oh, look, a ball. Let's play with this. Nades are a tool, first and foremost, more than anything. They force your enemy out of cover. They enable pushes. They are a form of offense while you do something else, like fire at them while they move, or heal, or try to apply pressure to someone who's down. These are tools first and foremost, and you don't really need to be throwing your nades here unless you intend to push, which, they have the high ground. Your third teammate is over here, and they have a Rampart that's set up with the turret because we already saw that the laser was up there. The laser indicating, Rampart's all revved up and ready to lay waste to anyone who gets near her. So this fight goes on for a little bit. And by fight, I mean you just kind of stare at each other and press R2. My next note here is right here, I think. No, it is at 1657. 1657. Here we go. Alright, so you've used up almost all of your sniper ammo here. And you're in a spot that hasn't been looted. At this point, in my opinion, you're not going to get much more utility out of a sniper considering how small the ring is going to be now. So I would say, at this point, ditch charge rifle, grab anything. look for more supplies you can use. And wouldn't you know it, right here is an RE45, two light round ammos, and an arc star, an extra nade for you to use, an extra tool. In case you're in the middle of a fight with your vault and you run out of ammo, you can switch to the RE45 and just spray to finish a fight instead of having to reload. Holding the charge rifle from here on out is not going to enable much of anything.
Making contact with enemy.
I need heavy ammo.
Our next note is at 1740.
This way.
So right here, if you listen closely, you can hear a lot of gunfire. It's multiple shots. It is the sound of a rampart on a minigun. And a few more guns being shot at it. This is a prime opportunity for you to get closer, to gather some info to third party, not to just sit here and just wait for someone to finish the fight and then heal up completely and then start a new fight. Take any kind of advantage you can get. Never start a fair fight. You never ever start a fair fight. Make it as one-sided as possible. This isn't really your fault, but had you and your Gibraltar coordinated better, you could have scanned and he could have thrown his ult over here, right under where they're standing, to get like a few direct hits to start the fight immediately. If you're comfortable being on the mic with people, I try to coordinate that, especially since you're the recon character, you are the info character, but it's not a huge deal. So now we jump to 2017, and this is the beginning of the end. You mentioned on Twitter, like, you were so close to winning this game. How did it all go wrong? And this is where it starts to go wrong. So,
Close. Time graces us. All Father, give me sight.
you're the only bloodhound in this game left. You can gather this kind of info really easily and track them down. And you decide, I am the info character. What do I do best? Obviously, I hide in a corner with all my friends.
Say we move this way.
The best. This is a good play right here. I don't think you need me to tell you. Maybe you shouldn't all rat in one spot. That's kind of, baiting like one thermite grenade to hit all of you for 50 damage.
All Father, give me
I understand the sentiment of wanting to keep ring and playing carefully, but don't do it all in one spot. There are plenty of spots to rat within here that would give you multiple angles. You can go here, you can play around this container, you can go over here, you can even go out the door in the back area here and go into the little conveyor belt. Everyone sitting in one spot's kind of a sus play. So,
That was the last one.
guess what happens
Just dropped
next?
from exhaustion.
I'm gonna spoil it for you.
One more
Nothing.
squad left.
Nothing happens from here until 24:51 for the rest of the game. And this is a problem. There are 2 squads left.
bless me with
Your first scan didn't reveal anybody. So, in my opinion, you can find a different spot and scan for in a different place. See if you can find this last person. Also, there you go. Good weapon switch. You hear footsteps, and it's only one pair of footsteps, not multiple. It's kind of hard to commentate this because there's a lot of nothing happening, and that's kind of the problem. A lot of what happens in these last rings are just you guys waiting around and missing opportunities to get more damage, get more kills, gather information on people, and get a better position to win fights. While you have ring here, You know, having ring isn't everything. You also have to consider all the advantages you have and all the disadvantages you have and all the opportunities that come before you. For example, this one. This is the point where you lose the most. This is where you lose after this. Hey, look, an Octane by himself. Wild, that's crazy. Wouldn't it be absolutely bonkers if he tried to 1v3 all three of you in the same spot right here and you lit him up like a Christmas tree? That'd be such a wild play. No kind of Octane would ever do that, right? Like, surely not. Oh, look, you all three of them light him up. He's on flesh now. He's taken 128 damage. According to my calculations, he's around 62-ish health right now. This is your chance to win. His teammates haven't made themselves visible, and you can afford to at least go out there and chase this a little bit, and you know you still have the advantage. You can afford to chase him out the door, get up on the roof, and see maybe get a few shots. And if you get hit for it, you know that's okay. You have more info to work with. You have you already have the damage and possibly get the down on them, and you have your ultimate still to work with also. You know, you've got plenty of opportunities to make this point the spot where you win. The only thing you could do to lose here is wait, and guess what happens? You wait.
Giving my shields a recharge.
It seemed like you're playing really nervous here. You're getting close to winning, and you got nervous and didn't push on that. Considering that Octane had 60 health, I don't think that Octane was going to be able to win a 1v3, especially when he has no shields and you've already hit him for flesh. If you all push at the same time, you can even push slowly. As long as you're all pushing at the same time, it's very unlikely he can 1v3 all of you. If you go 1 by 1, he can 1v3 all of you, but 3v1 all at once, they're not going to 1v3 you. And in my opinion, this is where you've lost. You've now lost the game here. Because the rest of the game is just more waiting. You have one more chance here to win. This is your last possible chance before it turns into a... what's it called? Before it turns into a coin flip. Gibraltar is about to use his ult, and his ult is going to cover most of the rooftop here. He's looking for, I guess, a free down with Gibraltar ult, which, you know, whatever. That's more than likely not going to happen. You might get some hit markers, and you can initiate a fight with the Gibraltar ult. That might have been a really good idea. And also, you still have your Bloodhound ult here. You can scan every 6 seconds. You can afford to push slowly. Use that 30 seconds to make sure your teammates are with you and constantly keep giving them that scan information to make it an easy 1v3. But you all just stay here. You don't push on the Gibraltar ultimate. You don't use the Bloodhound ult. You just kind of wait it out. So here comes the ring. Woo! Man, what can you do now? Now you can't do anything. Now this is a coin flip at this point. So this is a totally fucked situation now. If that Octane is at full health and he has a knockdown shield, he could possibly win. The only way to win at this point is now out healing in the storm the Octane. You know, you versus Octane, who can heal the most while in the storm. So if your hand is forced at this point and they're still not moving, you know, my opinion, go into the storm once, take 1 tick of damage, watch the ring countdown. And once the ring starts closing, you know, pop the med kit and wait in the very center of the ring. Try to time it so that once you're taking damage in the ring, you can you can take some of that ring damage and pop the medkit. And then at this point, you just have to YOLO as many syringes as you can because you've waited for the absolute final seconds of a match to try to do anything.
I bathe in this blood.
Healing up. Give me a sec. Ring's moving. Keep the
The
hustle.
only way the Octane wins here is if the Octane has full health and a knockdown shield. And wouldn't you know it, he had full health and a knockdown shield. That's wild. There were a lot of missed opportunities there, and that game was definitely yours to have, but it was kind of a hard choke. And it's unfortunate, because it was right there. It was in your hands. But, you know, this is why we review VODs. Sometimes you don't see these glaring mistakes until after you look and see them again. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this review. And thanks for watching.